Howdy, howdy, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this live stream. Anyone who is watching this post, glad to have you here. Just going to go through the usual spiel before people start joining. If you're in need of any of my help whatsoever in creating your perfect life, check out the links down below in the description. They'll take you to my website where you can see the services I offer to help you with that. Have a lot of good feedback at the moment. Actually, loads of people come back with either success stories or positive feedback. So it seems like at the moment things are going great for people. So if you're going to sign up, now would be a great time. If you're in need of any personalized tarot readings, Katie's Etsy is down below where she does those. If you're on Apple and you're interested in using the Subliminal app that I use, check out down below as well. There's a promotional link, promo code, promo link, whatever you want to call it, down there. So go check that out. And is there anything else? What else usually goes into the normal beginning part? I don't even know. But yeah. Oh, if you could like and comment on this video for those watching it post, because it'll obviously then get pushed out further into the algorithm, helping me out. And for people who are currently joining and watching it, if you could also like this stream, that would really help me out. With that all out of the way, let's get into these comments. Marnie Phoenix says, hi, Matt. Howdy, howdy, Marnie. Katrina says, hi, Matt. Howdy, howdy, Katrina. Or is it Katarina? Because you've got an E in there. I don't know if Katrina and Katarina are spelled differently. Who knows? One of those. Marnie Phoenix says, hope you're well. I'm very good, thanks. How are you? And Akshaya says, hello, Matt. Howdy, howdy. Glad to have you here. Hope you've all had a good weekend. Apologies, I wasn't live yesterday. I was out celebrating Katie's dad's birthday. We did clay pigeon shooting and went out for a meal and stuff like that. And yeah, it was really good. It was a really good time. So that's why there was no live yesterday. H says, overtly in new story, thought of thought of still three. Oh, fucking hell, Matthew, I can't talk already. Overtly in new story, thought of 3P is still there. I don't agree with or resonate with what I don't want. So that's a good thing. I mean, sometimes thoughts are still going to come up, like even if you're absolutely barreling in this new story, you may still have some little things that pop up from time to time, and that's perfectly fine. As I've said in sort of recent videos, what comes up is fine. It's how you handle it that matters. It's how you go forward that matters. But yeah, so I think since you said overtly in a new story, that's definitely a really good place to be. Like that's a good place to aim for. So I hope that over time those 3P thoughts will dissipate. Obviously, recently I did a video on third party situation, so hopefully that can help you out as well. And then you also say end goal is the relationship. Then that is all that requires your focus. Apologies. Marnie says, I'm good, thank you. Very welcome. Glad to hear it. Layla says, hi. Howdy, howdy, Layla. Marnie Phoenix says, I'm so grateful for your help with all the manifesting. I really feel you have been a big part of my journey and I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much. You are very welcome. I'm glad that I've been a help to you and I'm glad to have been a part and I'm glad to see how you've grown and everything along the way. So I really appreciate the kind words. H says, not married yet. Makes sense. Some people don't want that marriage just yet, and I don't blame you. To be fair, I definitely don't want to be married anytime soon. It's funny because there was some jokes yesterday at the gathering that either me or Katie's cousin are going to be the next to be married. And I was like, it's not going to be me. But yeah, no, I feel you. Akshaya says, I'm already getting so much signs and really feel so much close to my manifestation. And yeah, I feel like I had to reach first to my specific person. Well, why do you feel like that? Do you feel like that's coming from that state of like chasing, that kind of state of lack? Why is it that's making you feel like you need to do that? Because you're the dominant and operant power in your reality. So what you say goes. So if you don't feel or if you don't want to do that, there's no reason why you should. So, and if it's inspired action, you'll kind of just do it without needing to think about it. It will just kind of happen and you're like, boom, done. And then you won't have any negative connotations behind it. But yeah, so why is it that makes you feel like you need to reach out first? H says, I do feel that it is close. I feel so assured. Man, Jim and SR help a lot. I mean, that's good. Yeah, Jim's a really big thing for it, I think. I think that's probably why there's all those memes when like guys break up. It's like, oh, we're over, and it's like thanks for the fuel for the gym, and then he ends up being like massive and stuff. Like it makes sense because it's a place where you can go work on your mental health, you can go make yourself feel better, you can go and improve yourself. So it makes sense why gym is one of those things helping you really let go of that old story and kind of build up that self-concept and feel a bit better. And I'm glad you say that it's close. Apologies if you hear any like creaking. This Katie's putting the kids to bed, but yeah, no, I'm glad you're feeling a lot better, and I feel like I'm glad you feel like it's close as well. Actually, I says just really excited on how it's going to play out in the 3D. Yeah, so that's like the fun part about manifestation, I find, is like when you take away that need for it to happen a certain way, you're literally opening the universe to do whatever it wants. And considering oh, I can see myself up there and the little mirror there. Considering the universe has like infinite ways of making things work out, leaving it open to that without feeling like I need to reach out for it first or they need to reach out to me is so much better because you're just leaving it to an infinite source of like ways to happen. And in my opinion, that's so much more interesting because when it comes from like a random way, when you least expect it, that helps it just feel that much more impactful, I suppose. Top FJ says, "How? Hey, how would to make I'm safe, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm worryless into fearless in I'm fearless into one affirmation." We basically just said it just then. You'd say literally, "I'm safe, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm worryless, I'm fearless," and that would be your affirmation. Um, or if you meant like adding all of them together as if they're like one like phrase or statement, what have you got there? You got safe, calm, relaxed, worryless, calm, relaxed, worryless. I would say like I am calm and assured. That would like if you wanted to just attribute all of those things into one thing, or I'm calm and collected, or I'm calm and confident. That would kind of add them all in. But you could say literally them in a row, and they would all be just one affirmation, just sort of fired off in a quick succession. Exercise says, and I also see similar people who really need my manifestation. Similar persons who really need my manifestation, and then you also say thank you for all such beautiful replies. So you said, and I also see similar persons who really need my manifestation. I'm not entirely sure what you meant by that. Do you mean that you see other people who need the same thing you do, or like need your manifestation success? I don't quite follow that. But as for the next part where you say thank you for your beautiful replies, you're very welcome. I do my very best to respond to everyone in these channels, in these live streams and stuff as best as I can. So you are very welcome. Random name says howdy, 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 random name. Glad to have you here. Matt Schwartz says hey, hey, howdy, howdy. Glad to have you here as well, Matt. H says, Matt, do a video on managing male ego while dealing with thoughts of cheated or monkey branched. So the thing with that kind of video is I don't think that kind of video is um for this channel. I think that that would be more for the second channel, which by the way is currently in the process of being revamped. I had like a big old problem with trying to find B-roll clips that weren't like watermarked just because it looks so ugly. Like yes, obviously you can like get them and use them, but then when it's got that watermark, it just looks so ugly. So I managed to find like a place where I can do it for without having the watermarks. Now I'm in the process of making the second channel's content again. But I feel like that kind of thing would be more for the other channel, which I can definitely do for the other channel, absolutely. But yeah, I don't think that would be this kind of channel. Layla said, did coaching with you, Matt, back in October. You helped me put everything into perspective. Now things are unfolding in a perfect way. It's almost scary. SP is conforming right in front of my eyes. Well, I'm very glad to hear it. And I'm glad that that was a good comment about doing coaching back with me. But no, I'm really glad to hear it. And you'll have to keep us all updated on when he is the complete full package that it is that you want. But I'm really glad that it was helpful for you for sure. And thank you for the kind words and for basically promoting my coaching in this live stream. That helps me out. Matt Schwartz says, give Matt a big like, it's free. Absolutely. And you'd be surprised just how much it helps me out. And you never know, you might end up helping someone else out that might need to see this live stream and didn't even know they did. Because the algorithm will boost out and more people will see it. Summer Rain says, hey Matt, howdy, howdy. Emma says, I want to manifest that my SP's baby mama will allow him to see his baby, but my SP has a negative story about her. Can I still manifest her to change if he doesn't believe she will? Yes, you can. The reason why she may not have changed so far is because you're believing in his belief. You know, you're taking what he's saying as the end all be all and allowing that to be true. If you change the way that he perceives her, and if you change the way that you perceive her, and if you change the way that the story is playing out, you will end up receiving that reality as a byproduct. So you can absolutely change it, but stop allowing his beliefs to dictate your beliefs and stop allowing your manifestation to be based on whether or not he believes it. You know, you're the operant power, therefore you make all of the changes. Change your inner world for your outer world to change. Actually, says other people who also needs exactly what I want, and I see my manifestation happening for my close friends as well. That's usually quite a good sign. When you see stuff like that happening for other people around you, it's usually quite a good sign that things are on their way to you because what you give out, you get back. And obviously, if you're focusing on it, then you're going to have things presented in front of you to sort of keep that focus on that end result. It may not be your end result yet, but if you see that your friends are getting, what specifically did you say? Like you just said, it's happening for your close friends. So if you find that your close friends are getting it as well, then you know that you're sort of around that corner because that's where your focus is going. It's showing up in your reality, and it's only a matter of time before it's your turn. H says, more I live in the end now, more I regret focusing on hows, whens earlier. Yes, absolutely. I find that that's quite a common thing is like at first you think you need to control the how and the when and really focus on it. But then when when you do take that leap into the end result and just focus on it, everything else fizzles away, and you kind of realize that it's actually so much more comfortable to just live in the end result than it is to focus on everything in the middle. When you're focusing on everything in the middle and trying to micromanage everything, it can be so mentally draining. So yeah, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. Did I miss one? Ah, top chat. I keep forgetting to do live chat. Did I miss anyone? I'm just going to scan through. Apologies, people. If I did miss you, I do apologize. I don't think I did. I don't see one. Cool. Yeah, I didn't miss one. Sweet. So Katrina says, "What's your opinion on the 10K affirmations challenge? Found out about it recently, and it seems weird to me setting a time frame for your manifestation. P.S. Both ways to pronounce my name were correct." Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't get it wrong. Imagine if it were like both ways were wrong, and I just like an absolute tool. But the 10K affirmations challenge. So I haven't actually seen the challenge itself. I've had people ask me about it, and I've had people give me brief descriptions on what it is. So I think the 10K affirmations challenge, as in doing 10,000 affirmations, makes sense. You know, your mind is based on repetition, whether or not it's through affirmations, visualizations, embodying the state, does not matter. Your new story will be built up by changing that story, and the way that you change that story is to continuously repeat a new one to yourself. So 10K affirmations makes sense. I don't know the exact number that you would need in order to impress your subconscious mind, because it's obviously based on person to person on how well they're able to step into this new state. As for the time frame thing, I think a lot of people do put time frames when they're in need of something quite quickly. And although you can manifest on time crunches, and it's entirely possible for you to wake up tomorrow and things will change, I think a lot of the time the people that need that change tend to end up waiting longer because they're in need of that change. So while time frames can be done, I do genuinely think that it might be a better thing for you. Shit, scared the life out of me. I genuinely believe it might be better for you to just focus on the end result being now, and not, I have to have it by February 14th on the dot. Sometimes you can't obviously help it. Like, for example, if your end result is to have, I don't know, Valentine's Day, obviously, um, then yeah, you might have a bit of a time crunch. Thank you. But like, if it's just like being with them, trying to make it happen within the next 2 days is actually just better done if you just focus on having it now, as opposed to having it in this like and making it faster. So the 10K affirmations, yeah, makes sense. Time crunch, you're best off just not adding more stress to yourself. Like H said earlier, when he just started living from the end and not focusing on the hows and the whens, it just was a lot easier. Well, he said there that I now regret more focusing on the hows and whens, but obviously that obviously would come through the difficulty of the process. So affirmations, sure. Time crunch, you're best off just leaving it. But if you want to do it on a time crunch, by all means you can. H says, as long as you know what I'm saying, male ego is big. I constantly feel like a macho in me says, how dare she do that to me? Makes in complete sense. And it says, I don't want to have any negative thoughts related to any story. For me, robotic affirmations work. Okay, yeah, so I do 100% understand why you would have that thought process. Obviously, I do think that you should try your best to forgive and forget that like instance. I know that you put the other day in the worksheets, you said that a worksheet on letting go of resentment would be really cool. And I'm going to start trying to bang out some of those worksheets over the next coming weeks. So hopefully that one would be one that works out quite well. But yeah, I can understand why your ego would be saying that for sure. I'd probably be doing the same. Um, and you'd be best off just letting it go as best you can so that you don't have those negative thoughts of the story. But you probably will have some come up here and there. And like I said earlier, it's not what comes up, it's how you deal with it when it does that matters. So if you do have negative thoughts come up, don't like worry too much about it. It just, if you're giving the focus and attention to it, then you're worrying about it. So just let it go as best you can. Emma said, so do I need to affirm that my SP has a good perception, or do I need to revise? You can do either. Revision, while revision is very good, I find a lot of people, and this might just be a limiting belief of my own, but I find a lot of people tend to get stuck trying to make the change of their past thought. And because they're changing the past in their mind, they're looking for the results of the change, therefore keeping it in place anyway. So the only problem that I find with revision is that people tend to just sit there thinking about the past event that did happen more than actually revising it. That just might be just my assumption. That might just be sort of luck of the draw of who I've dealt with that wanted to revise. But I personally think, and from what I've seen from the people that I've worked with, that if you're changing something like that, if it's something that you can change going forward, you're best off just changing it going forward. If it's something that has happened and you want to change specifically what has happened and you can't do anything about it going forward, then by all means revise it. But it's entirely up to you what you think would be better. And obviously H said robotic affirmations work. Yes, they do work. I personally prefer to just put that little bit of feeling behind them, but they do work for sure. Emma says, I'm confused how this works because I'm creating something in my reality for him, but didn't think I could since he is only one with free will in his reality. Okay. So do I need to? Okay, so I'm confused how this works because I'm creating something in his reality for him. No, you're creating something for you in your reality. You're not creating, although that would be a relationship between between him and his child due to the issues and everything sorting out. It is still for your benefit, and it is still you placing your focus on it, which means it's in your reality because had you not come around to make those mental changes, they would have just gone on as normal. But because now you're placing your awareness on it, that implies that it's your reality. You're the one coming to me asking, how do you make the change? So it's your reality that's shifting. The version of him that doesn't want to deal with this kid is still going to have their own existence in a different reality, but you're going to have yours in this one where you get what you want playing out. So in his reality, he will be the one with free will. In your reality, you're the one with free will. That does not mean that you're operating in the same reality, if that makes sense. I did a whole video on it ages ago. I need to do a revamp video because it's a complicated subject, and there's a lot of like hot takes on it, and people have different opinions and stuff. And it is definitely like belief based, but
I think it's very hard to get confused, like with the whole idea. Because I tried to explain it to somebody in like my life, and she outright refused to believe that I stopped it raining. Because if my next door neighbor was thinking, oh, but it's going to rain, I better take my umbrella, then surely it has to have rained. And I was like, well, no, because my next door neighbor would have stepped outside into her rain because that's what she was thinking about. But I stepped outside into my clear sky because that's what I was thinking about. That's what I believed would happen. And so, yes, she lives next door, but the one who is then next door is the one who was thinking, it's not going to rain today. That's who's then next door. And I think, yeah, it definitely gets confusing and stuff. And yeah, basically she was like, I can kind of get on board, but I absolutely refuse to believe that you can control the weather. And I was like, that's your belief. You'll never be able to stop the rain like I can.
The very brief ways everyone exists in their reality. We just all align based on what we're thinking. So for example, here's reality 1, here's reality 2. Let's say the Katie in reality 1 was thinking it's not going to rain, or it stopped raining or whatever, and her neighbor was in reality 2 also thought the same thing. The neighbor would come over to reality 1 and share the same experience as Katie because they had the same thoughts. Now if Katie was like it's going to rain, she would then go over to reality 2 in which the rain was going to happen, therefore aligning with the neighbor that was in reality 2. So, or 1 or 2, I can't remember what numbers I did, but you get what I mean. Like you shift reality. So everyone in your reality has free will, but the reason why they don't is because you're shifting to a different reality in which what you want is playing out. So even though everyone in here is living their own existence, it doesn't affect yours because you're the one that makes the shift. This is why they all say it's your internal world. It's why you must shift first. It's why you're not changing others, you're changing yourself. Because I'm not changing reality 1 version of Katie. I'm shifting to a different reality 2, in which Katie was already the way that I wanted her to be, for example. So that's why you would then shift into a reality in which he is already, or is leading up to him having the relationship that you want. So you would leave behind reality 1 version of him who doesn't have that relationship to then go and experience reality 2 version of him, which does. Hopefully that makes sense. It's difficult to explain in sort of without a long time to do so. Carolina says is that right? Yeah. Carolina says every morning I ask myself who I am and I affirm it with an exciting feeling and keep reminding myself, nope, this is the new me. And no matter what, is this a good way to work on self-concept and embody the new state? Yes, absolutely. Getting a clear idea of who you need to step into to get what it is that you want, and then starting your day with that and continuing through like that is absolutely the right way to go about it. And then Carolina also says, don't forget to like the video, guys. The least we can do. Absolutely. It would really help me out, and it makes you all like really good people. So do it. Appreciate it. Beatrice says, hi, how can you tell if someone is manifesting you or if you're someone's SP? So The way that I perceive this kind of situation is very much person dependent because, like I said, you have free will. You're the only one with free will in your reality, which means the only way that you can be manifested by someone else in your reality and stay in the same reality, and this is almost going to sound like it's contradicting what I just said, but like, hear me out, is if you allow them to. So you might hear all of this stuff from other coaches and myself as well, who say, when you're in need of this person's validation, you're allowing them control over your life. When you're uh, like giving them like, oh, they won't come back because they're stubborn, you're giving them power, this kind of thing. So in my belief, the only way that you can be manifested without shifting realities, because I feel like if you were to be manifest, you would have to already be open to the suggestion and therefore to shift over to a different reality in which it was coming out. For example, using Katie and I's um, situation, I believe that Katie in original reality would have been having the same sort of thoughts and i.e. manifesting me potentially, and therefore we shifted to the same reality in which it was going to play out. That's kind of why I believe I can sit here and say that I manifested her, and she can sit here and say this is my story of being manifested, because she was open to the idea of that, therefore allowing the power to out elsewhere, because she obviously didn't know about manifestation in the first place. So all she thought was that things can happen congruently. And then by having that opinion and me having mine, then we both shifted to a reality in which it came out, which is why she can sit here and say I was manifested, and I can sit here and say that no one has free will. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. Again, it's one of those kind of topics that needs like quite a long visual explanation. But how can you tell if someone is manifesting you if you do dominantly believe that you're the only one with free will and you don't allow anyone else to have the power? You can't be manifested, and I don't think that you can pick up on it. If you do give other people the power in your reality to say that they can manifest you, I imagine it kind of comes in the form of having random spurs of thoughts about them. The only reason why I say that I don't believe that you can feel it if you really don't give anyone else that power is because I don't do that. And I've had someone in the past say they're going to manifest me, and I felt nothing towards them because I genuinely believe that I am the operant power. If I didn't believe that and I kind of just stayed open to any kind of suggestion, because if you've read Florence Scovel-Shinn's book, I can't remember which one she did four, and I basically bought the collection which has them all, which is why I never remember which one I'm referring to. She says that if a person is open to suggestion, then your thoughts will take them over. She actually uses the example of she really wanted, one of her clients really wanted someone else's house, and they were like focusing on having this house, focusing. And then the person unfortunately passed away, and then she was able to get this person's house. Then she goes to Florence and say, "Did I cause this?" And then Florence said, "Yes, you did, but only because he was open to suggestion." Now, I know this may be somewhat like contradictory towards law of assumption. It might be, I suppose, maybe more towards law of attraction's beliefs of, universe dictates and yada yada yada. But in that, she basically said, had he not been open to suggestion, had he been strong-willed in his health and in his own abilities, he would not have experienced that reality, and instead, the universe would have made it happen in a different kind of way. But because he was open to suggestion, that's why that then happened. So Florence is one of the ones that I really like. I read all four of her books and stuff, and I quite like her. I know Naya does as well. For anyone else that wants reference to other coaches that reference Florence quite a lot. And yeah, so that's why I don't believe that I believe if you believe you're the operant power and you aren't open to suggestion, you won't experience anything. However, if you are open to suggestion, or if your subconscious mind doesn't have that, it's only me in control, then it can be suggested upon. And that's when then people can say that they're manifested by by other people. But very few and far between have that kind of situation happen. But again, it's a kind of situation that almost sounds like it contradicts everything else I talk about. So it's one of those things where you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because Florence is known as one of like the big ones, just like Neville. And I'm sure Neville probably said, that can't happen. But Florence has all of her clients and successes and says it can. So it's one of those things where potato kind of thing. Take what resonates with you is basically in very short terms what you should take from this. Take what resonates with you. Always take what benefits you the most. If you don't want to be manifested by someone else, don't let yourself believe you can. And then you can't. H says, Matt, is movement really happening even if I don't see anything? Like, really? Yes, it is. Because if you're changing your thoughts, then you are creating that new reality. It may not weave within a day, it may not weave within a month, but if you are shifting your thoughts and aligning everything to it, then you are weaving that new reality, and it will come into place at some point in time. Now, that doesn't mean that it's moving is always happening if you're thinking like shit. Like if you think like one thought and that's of, oh, we're in this relationship, and then you think 1,000 more of we're not, you can't really expect that one thought to be weaving this new reality. You have to like at least stay true to the end result and try to be dominantly in it for movement to always be happening, because it's kind of convoluted to think that you can think like shit and everything will still like work out for you. You can obviously still claim that for yourself, but we've all been in those situations when we spiraled negatively and things just seem to get worse. That's why, because you're weaving the reality of what it is that you're dominantly thinking. So if you want to have that new experience, and even if you don't see anything, have everything happening in the background, you at least need to be aligning your thoughts with it. Carolina says, do you think our manifestations can miss us? Let's say if SP loves to go out and I don't really, but think I should, just in case that would be the catalyst. Should I be doing it anyway? Because I don't go out a lot on weekends because all my friends are in relationships, so I just do my own thing myself, not necessarily going out, etc. So no, your manifestation can't miss you. There will be instances where, like, had you been in the right mindset, things might have worked out better. For example, you might be near each other and then not actually bumped into each other, but that isn't because you missed your manifestation. That's just because you're not in alignment with the dominant state and things just playing out. Again, Florence references this in her own book of people missing opportunities, not because their manifestation is missing you, because manifestation and creation is perfect. So if you are aligning with your end result and everything, you will be put in the place that you need to be. But they say opportunities are missed by the people who aren't seeking them. So if you're not in that state, then yes, you are going to miss them. But this isn't you missing a manifestation. This is just not you aligning with that result. So if you're aligning with your end result, no, you cannot miss them. If you're not aligning with your end result, then there is the potential that you're not going to have the opportunity come up the way that you might want it. But as for your example, you're looking at that very logically of, I need to make sure that I go out to bump into it, basically, or I need to make sure that I'm staying open to that option, which is good to stay open to that option. And you can still do that if you want. But remember, your subconscious mind puts all the pieces together if and when it fit, like not if and when it feels, puts all the pieces together how it should in order to get you from point A to point B, regardless of what you're doing. So if you're staying true to that end result, you'll find yourself in the right places, regardless of whether you usually go out or don't. Quite often you'll find stories where people are like, oh, I don't usually go down this road, but when I did for some reason and bumped into my person, it's because your subconscious mind has made it happen. So don't worry about missing them. Just worry about aligning with it. Jade Lamb says, just came here to say hi. By practicing the law, I understand it even more. Sometimes I have questions, but most of the time most of them are just asking for oh my God, I can't speak.
For motivation.
Yeah, most of them are just asking for motivation. Well, first off, thank you for coming in and saying hi. So, nice to see you here. As for the practicing, yes, I do genuinely believe that you need to be applying it more than you're learning. So many people watch video after video after video after video, and if they're mine, then that's absolutely fine because it helps the channel out. But it is definitely better to watch one video that kind of makes sense to you and then go off and apply it. And if you apply it and stay true to it, because in very simplistic terms, are you thinking the right thoughts? If yes, then you're doing the right thing. If no, then you need to think the right thoughts. And once you understand that, it literally does just take applying it to then get the reality that you want to experience. But yeah, I feel you about the whole motivation stuff, but you should learn to trust yourself as well. Carolina says, hey Katie, looking beautiful as usual.
I'm really shiny today. It's really offended me. Like, I can literally see the ring light reflecting off of my face. Why?
Random name says, oh, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to laugh at my tangent again.
Oh, okay. Random name says, I don't know how, but when I focused less on time, I manifest within the time crunch. I did it with money and a friend who wanted to get married. It's because you're not focusing on time. When you are focusing on time, you're basically saying, I don't have it yet. Why would you be focusing on time if it's already in existence right now? So when you take your attention off of time, it tends to manifest a lot quicker. This is why I said earlier that you can manifest on a time crunch, but it's probably better if you just focus on having it now, as opposed to focusing on the time crunch itself. Where's my phone? Apologies, people. But yeah, no, I focus less on time, and you're more than likely to get the result faster. Natty J says hello, howdy, howdy, Natty.
Hey.
B said, did you ever have so many? Fucking hell, I can't talk. B said, did you ever have so many orders on your products in one day? I need to cough again. Apologies. Oh, I'm dying. And why you think people are not able to manifest such a thing? Like why they block by not knowing they can manifest customers to. Did you ever have so many orders on your products in one day? Yes, there have been times when I've had a lot of orders and coaching clients in one day. And why you think people are not able to manifest such a thing? Like, why they block by not knowing they can manifest customers to them? So a lot of the time, people just won't assume themselves able to do so. Like, a lot of people might have the belief that no one will buy their products, or that people are not interested in their business, or that they don't have good enough products for people to be willing to sell, or they don't advertise it enough. Because even just an assumption like that, oh, I don't advertise enough to get the products that I need, is going to get the customers I need, is going to be an assumption against you. So that's quite often why people can't do that, can't manifest the customers to them, is because they're not able to step into that state of having those customers. They're not able to step into the state of like, oh, I've made 10 product sales today. And that's quite often why. A lot of it comes to like self-trust and knowing that you're good enough to have that. H says, I say to my logical mind, thanks for trying to keep me safe. I have made my decision. If it stays, I physically push it away and even say, not today, Satan, never Satan. Okay. Well, the first part is good. The idea of like thanking it and not getting in its way and not attacking it. The second part's quite funny. I like it. And if it works for you, then it works for you. Top FJ says, I have like 30 plus affirmations for self-concept. Is that okay? How long should one session be for affirming? So you can have as many affirmations as you like, as little or as many as you want. It's entirely up to you and what helps you feel into the state of having your desire and what feels like it connects with you best. As for the period, I tend to do 10 minutes or so if I do them in sections. And if not, I tend to do them when I'm like just doing something. So I'll affirm while putting the washing out, or while, I don't know, doing the washing up or something. I think 10 minutes is a good standpoint. And if you're going to affirm sort of generally throughout the day, then, you can just affirm throughout the day. And I think that works quite well. H says, hey, Matt and Katie, y'all are great together. And input B. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Kind words. Obviously, if it wasn't for my ability to manifest her back, we wouldn't even be here. Might be someone else here. Just saying that 'cause she's gone out of the room. Don't get me in trouble. There's so many comments that I missed. I'm such a bastard. Carolina says, sorry, another question. Do you think if you've been focusing on your desire and done all the work and now you don't want to do anything, will that be okay if someone doesn't think of the desire anymore? So yeah, if you don't think of your desire anymore and you kind of feel like you've done enough and you feel in a dominant state, then you probably made that story, and chances are you feel like you don't want to do it anymore because you have that inner belief that you do have it. For example, you don't want to cook dinner when there's a plate of dinner in front of you, that kind of thing. And the only thing that I will say about stuff like that is at least try to ensure that you stay on top of your thoughts. Like when thoughts do come up, make sure that you're flipping them or letting them be on the desired reality. Just because if you don't bother doing any more like work, but you still let your thoughts run like shit, then obviously that's not going to benefit you in the long run. So you don't have to affirm all day, every day, but like once you get to that stage of feeling like it's done, but at least ensure that you're staying on top of your thoughts. Victory 3002 play says, hi, in the 3D, I failed my math exam. How can I change my grade to a straight A pass? Do you have any tips for that? Also, how can I manifest instantly and for many aspects of life? So when it comes to that kind of thing, if you want to like manifest better grades, the best thing you can either do is revise the situation or just go ahead and assuming that either A, the grade has passed, like you got the pass that you wanted, and just assume it's the case, or B, what was the other thing that I was going to say? Or B, assume that the thing isn't going to get in the way. So regardless of the grade exam that you got, you're still going to get whatever job it is that you want, or whatever thing it is that you're wanting to do, or whatever it is that you decide you want to do. Already assume that you have that. So you can either revise the grade, tell yourself that it doesn't matter, and or tell yourself that you're already doing the thing that you want to do, because in a way the grade is not the end result. The grade is kind of that thing that leads you to it. Like you don't get a grade just to have a grade. You usually get a grade so that you can go and do something with it, i.e. Quantum mechanics or something like that. So if you have something in mind that you want to do and you feel like it'll be easier to go straight for that, then go straight for that. If it's having a job in quantum mechanics, then assume yourself into having a job in quantum mechanics, as opposed to assuming to have the grade change, because then you still have to focus on getting that job in quantum mechanics anyway. As for the how can I manifest instantly and for many aspects of life, bring yourself into the state of being like that. A lot of the time, instant manifestation comes from a trust standpoint. You need to trust that you can instantly manifest. You need to trust that things do work out for you instantly. A lot of the time, if you don't have a built up self-concept and a self-trust, then when you're telling yourself, I receive this instantly, you can feel like a lying to yourself. So I think self-concept is a good way to manifest things instantly. And when you have a built up self-concept, quite often it works in all areas. So if you have this like inner trust and confidence, you'll find that your career gets better because you'll be dealing with customers better. You'll find that your family relationships get better, your specific person relationships get better. So the best way to manifest instantly is to have that trust that you can and build up that trust that you can. And the best way to manifest for many aspects of your life is to build up that self-concept and have that like belief in yourself that you can receive anything, you can do anything, everything comes to you easily. The things in your lives are working out, everything gets better every single day, those kind of things. Because yeah, self-concept is kind of what makes manifestation on autopilot, or that when you have to think or when you do think about things, it kind of happens a lot quicker because you don't have an opposing story. For example, someone who's extremely confident probably won't have the opposing story that their specific person is going to move on from them, as opposed to someone who's extremely insecure is probably going to have that story. So when it comes to telling yourself, of course they're going to come back to me because they're never going to find anyone else, someone who genuinely believes that about themselves is going to have a much better time impressing that than someone who feels like they're lying to themselves when they say it. Carolina says, what are your plans for Valentine's Day? If you like it, do you prefer staying or going out? So we actually don't have any yet. So, well.
Do you know, right? I'm just going to say, Matthew has not asked me to be his Valentine.
We're in a relationship, man.
I've not been asked if I would be Matthew's Valentine. The silence is loud.
It depends on the situation. I do quite like going out, but I don't
even know what day it is this time.
I don't know. But I actually don't like people. Believe it or not, I don't like people. And because Valentine's Day is obviously everyone's trying to go out and stuff, I don't like going out on Valentine's Day because most restaurants are packed. Most like activity places are packed. It's too cold to go for like a nice romantic walk. So like going out on Valentine's Day, in my opinion, isn't as fun as staying in. I do prefer if I had the choice between like staying in activities and staying out activities, I prefer out. I'd like to go out for dinner, or I'd like to go like bowling or cinema or something like that, as opposed to sitting in watching a film or it depends actually on the day. I think in general though, I do prefer staying in. Like I'd rather stay in and work on my laptop all day than go for like a walk, for example. But as for Valentine's Day, we do have plans. She just doesn't know about them. I'm not asking her to be my Valentine's Day though. She's in a relationship. I pay for the house. I pay for her car. What more do I have to do? But
Ask me. Be your Valentine.
Well, she could ask me.
I did, and you said no.
Did I?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a guy's job to ask. Yeah, so we've got plans. I just haven't told her about them. And I think for Valentine's Day, I prefer to stay in, I suppose. But if it's like a date day or date night, I'd rather go out.
I'm so curious now.
What's your answer to the question?
No, I'm curious as to what you have planned.
Yeah, but that's not what the question.
Involve balloons?
No, it does not involve. Can you answer her question so I can move on?
I think pretty much the same as what you said, to be fair. I also don't really like people. If there's like a like a big crowd, I was like, nah. Like it's just it's nicer to go when no one is going to be there, I think.
Yeah.
To places.
I'd agree. Jocelyn says, hi, my question is, what is some advice or tips when you begin to doubt the law? First off, hi. Second off, it's one of those things that happens quite often when you've been trying to manifest something and haven't had the result. And it kind of is like a vicious cycle because you're looking for the result, you're not getting it. And then because you're not getting it, you're starting to doubt it. And because you're doubting it, you're going to assume you're not going to get it. And it's like, so one of the things is it's just continue to do it. Just continue to be disciplined and stop being so outcome dependent, and you'll find that it works, because you don't need to fully believe the law works to change your thoughts. You don't need to fully believe that this will manifest your thing to change your thoughts and assume yourself into the position you want to be in. So it's less about, belief in the law and more about discipline to apply it anyway, if that makes sense. Like it's not going to benefit you thinking like shit. It's only going to benefit you thinking positively. So you might as well stay disciplined to the thinking positive and then let the results come as a result of that. And yeah, I would say have faith in the manifestation working more than the law itself. So for example, by that, I mean preparing for your manifestation. You may not believe the law is going to work, but does tidying your room under the basis they're going to come round, is that much trouble? Probably not. And you can still do it regardless of whether you believe in the law or not. You can kind of work it into what it is that you do. Or if you really did want to sort of build your belief in the law, start working on a list method. So every day, and this is something that I saw on Joseph Alli's channel when I like first started watching stuff. Write down like 5 small insignificant things every day as if you've received them. So I've received a free coffee, I've received a compliment, I've received a message from an old friend, and then tick them off as they come up. And you'll gradually see over time that you'll have these sort of things come in, and then you'll start to see, oh, by simply just saying that I received it, and here's all the things I received. And then it kind of just builds up that trust that it works. Because my assumption is you're believing or you're having doubts because the main thing that you want hasn't come in yet. And as a result, you're getting yourself in a bit of an unfortunate cycle. So either discipline yourself to do it regardless of whether you believe it anyway, or build up that faith by starting with small insignificant things and then let it build up. H says, hello, time for Katie's monologue for us men living in the end in our imagination of being with our love X together. Katie, it really helps us a lot as we're in no contact in this 3D. It's not for Katie's validation or nor I am weak in faith, but just helpful as I am not perfect. Now, most of the time I am imagining or finding refuge in it because it feels good. Seriously, like I would love to her here now, like physically, but I am so good when I have consistent feeling of her with me. He's talking about his person, not you.
Yeah, no.
Go on then, monologue away.
Of what though? What am I saying?
I don't know. I just
A monologue.
Hello, time for Katie's monologue for us men living in the... Okay, so if you have like a monologue request, I suppose it would probably be better to put like what it is that you're specifically asking for.
The food is beeping. I'll sort it out in a second. I suppose the monologue is that you will definitely get your person, that they're still 100% in love with you. This is just the assumption of what I think that you want to hear. But if there's something else, let me know. But yeah, they're 100% still in love with you. They are ready to make that like commitment to you. They're ready to take the steps with you, and you are, doing everything that you need to be doing. You're living in the right state, and they know that they want you. Yeah. I hope that was helpful. If not, let me know. I need to go and sort out the chicken.
Okay. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Audette says, hello from France. I learn about LOA and I improve my English because, my God, you speak very quickly. Yeah, I do apologize. I tried to slow it down, but it's just not in my nature to speak quite slow. I've always been like a fast talker, and yeah, I don't know why. It's like, yeah, so I do apologize, but thanks for sticking it out regardless. H says, oh, I already answered that one. Katrina says, I affirm twice a day and then go about my day or go to sleep. Neither do I count my affirmations, nor do I think during the day about my manifestation. Should I be more often in the state? If you don't feel dominantly in the state based on the work that you're doing, then I would advise trying to do it more. But if you feel like you are dominantly in that state of having and you feel as though it is yours, then you're probably okay. But that's obviously for you to decide based on where you feel. Victory says, what do you think about subliminals? Do they work in your opinion? Okay, I'll answer that before I answer the second one. Yes, I do. We had Matt Schwartz many months ago ask me about subliminals, and then I tested them out to see, because I'd didn't really have much luck with them in the past, as in I didn't really use them enough to see if they worked. And then we did get successes with them. Both Katie and I used money ones, and then we got money successes. And that was really good. So I do believe in subliminals. And if you are interested in trying them yourself, might as well do a little plug since someone asked about it. There will be a link in the description of this video. And I suppose I can't put it because I haven't got it here. Yeah, so if you are interested in trying out subliminals, there is an app that I actually work alongside, probably not the right word for it, but there is a subliminal app that I use myself, and if you use this code on Apple, you will get 15% discount for it, because it's a paid service, but it's extremely good. And that's the subliminal app I use, and I use it basically every day when I'm doing my coaching clients. I'll put on the subliminals and stuff, and I find it works amazing. I find that if I stop doing subliminals for an extended period of time, like if I just forget to do them, or if I haven't got the time to do them, but if I'm just kind of in a rush to get stuff done, I don't put them on. And then once I start putting them on again, I realize just how much of a difference they make. So yes, I 100% believe subliminals work, and they're pretty great. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just basically the same. I use the same app. I think it's absolutely incredible. One of them that I really like is Super Powerful Woman, because genuinely you just become ridiculously powerful. Just walking around feeling like I can't remember if that's exactly what it's called, but it's woman power or something along those lines, and it's really good, and it makes me feel amazing. And I like to listen to it before going to the gym, and then I just feel like the most, I don't know how to describe
just
it.
feel the most.
I just feel the most, basically. Yeah. So yeah, I think that they're really good, and I think I'm having success with that one, and like the like appearance based one. I feel like that's quite good.
The second question was, when the changes of realities can happen, I need my perfect grades because I'll have to drop out / redo my exams. It'll happen as soon as you start aligning. When you align with it and stay like dominant in that state, that's when the pieces will start getting put together. Worry more about getting into the state of having than making it happen as fast as possible. Because when you're making it happen as fast as possible and you're conscious of that, you're already in the state of not having. So focus more on having it than anything. Jade Lamb says, I'm curious about this. I heard a lot of people say that creation is finished and we already have our manifestation. If so, then why does manifestation take some form of time in the 3D to create? So it's one of those things where I think it's a kind of like generally a misconception. This might be me getting it wrong. So if you don't resonate with what I say, again, don't take it. But manifestation is finished because if you can think of it, then it exists, and it exists for you somewhere. Like as in a different reality in which you can operate. Now, aligning yourself to that reality so that you can is something different. The way that I like to describe it, and this is an analogy I sort of created for myself, and I can't exactly say that this is 100% what it is, but this is the way that I perceive it, is manifestation is finished because there's a reality in which it exists that you can operate. When you imagine that reality, that is kind of like looking into the window of the house that has that manifestation in an existence. So that's where you can think of it and you can see through the window, and therefore manifestation is finished, creation is finished. But looking through the window and stepping through the door into that house are two different things. You're both seeing the same reality, except for one of them you're looking at, the other one you're experiencing. So this is why I feel like it takes, even though manifestation is finished and you can conjure it up, which means it does exist, this is why you may not experience it immediately, because it takes that extra bit of time to align so that you can get the key in the door, turn it, and then enter. Hopefully the analogy helps, but that's kind of why I perceive it. That's how I perceive it, is that you can think of it and that's seeing through the window, but actually entering the house is something different. That's aligning with it being true for you and not just imagining it. Random Name says, if someone wants to manifest you, they'll shift to a reality where there's a version of you that wants them. I wouldn't be too worried about it. I would be flattered. Yes, that is exactly the way that I described it in my video. I did do a video a couple of months ago now explaining all of this. I used the whiteboard with like diagrams and stuff like that. And yeah, I basically said that if someone wants me, they'll get the version of me that wants them also if I'm going to be manifested by someone else, or if I'm open to the what's the word? Open to the suggestion of it happening. But me as I am now, I don't believe I can be manifested. Therefore, I will not be manifested by someone else. If I end up getting with anybody else, that will be because it's my choice. I get in so much trouble in these live streams.
Why would you even say that out loud?
Because that was in reference to what I said.
You're never going to be a friend.
We'll see. Chemo says, Chemo says, yo, okay, bye. Chemo says, yo, did you manage to watch some Alan Watts videos? If not, it's cool. I did not. I do apologize. My time outside of these streams is insane. I saw that you posted that thing and I read your message about it and everything, and I did mean to get round to it. But by the time the live stream's over, it's quite late. We eat and then sleep not long after, and then I end up like forgetting about it. But I will watch it tomorrow. I'm going to add a notification on my phone after this to watch it tomorrow while I'm doing all of the video stuff. And then I can, if you comment on this video afterwards again, which I know you did last time, I won't respond to the comment, which means it will stay up as a notification on my phone. And then that will remind me, and then I can respond to you on that. But I do apologize. Victory says, what do you think about manifesting in a time crunch and how to do that? I believe all my desires are here with me because I manifested instantly, or at least I believe it. 3D is showing me the opposite. So I believe you absolutely can manifest on a time crunch. The way that you do it is to focus less on the time and focus more on the reality of already having it now. You're supposed to be in the state of having it now. Your subconscious mind is supposed to believe it is already in existence now. So when you are focusing on the time that you're trying to get it within, you're focusing on the situation of already not having it. So the best way to manifest on a time crunch is to actually take out the time necessity and focus on just having it now, and it will play out in the fastest way possible. And what you've put there, that's also a good thing to where you kind of build up that belief that everything happens instantly. It benefits you, whether or not it will happen with everything, different story, but it'll benefit you to see it that way. Master Uguay says, what should be the best approach for a third party situation? Completely remove them from your attention. By the way, just before I carry on with this, if we could stop all the questions for now, just because it's coming up to the hour mark, and then I'll have to go off and eat. And I think I have a client that wants to do a call after this, which is, yeah, because it's 8 now, so it'll be quite a late call. So if we can just stop the questions for now, and then, yeah, I'll answer all the ones that are here. What was I saying? What should be the best approach for a third party situation? So first off, remove your attention from them. Your awareness should only be on that of which you would experience if you were experiencing your end result. And in your end result, it would be you with your person. So remove all attention from the third party as best you can and place that attention on building up an inner belief of your own worth and value and deserving of this person and the reality of you already being with this person. And then the third party and any obstacles in between will fall away, making room for this person to be with you. Kumo says, at Victory, I found not trying to manifest something fast manifests it faster. Sounds strange, but it works. These comments don't allow to fully explain. Yeah, so that is basically it. When you're in need of a time crunch, manifesting in a time crunch and you're aware of it, then you are basically saying you don't have it, which makes it take longer because you're giving your subconscious that story that it's not here yet. So if you want something in the fastest way possible, it is best to remove time and just be in it now. Master Ugo says, I affirm, script, and listen to subliminals every day. I persist through all of it, but every time a negative thought hits, or if I look at the 3D, I feel very, very bad, but I still keep persisting. What should be the best advice for me? So when negative thoughts and negative circumstances come up, they are nothing to be concerned about. I know they may hurt, I know they may suck in the moment, but negative thoughts don't have any power unless you provide them power. So same with positive thoughts. A thought is neutral until you give it power. So if you start panicking and spiraling, then you're giving it that power to create. If you simply just laugh at a negative thought or laugh at a negative circumstance, or even say, I actually don't care about this, you are immediately removing the power of that thing. And you'll find that you'll trick your mind to actually not caring about it. And then you can become indifferent. So my advice to you based on this situation is, if a negative thought comes up or if a negative circumstance comes up, literally say to yourself, I don't care about that, or laugh at it and say, that's not true for me because, and then enter what is true for you, or simply just let it go. Because placing any kind of negative emotion or feeling or thought on a negative circumstance or a thought is only going to provide an unnecessary power. It actually means nothing. You're assigning meaning to it. There's a quote that I quite like, which is, what's normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. And what that basically means in relation to this is, a thought would be normal to one person, but to you, you're the fly. So it's chaos to you, but you're providing it that chaos by allowing it to take control. I skipped very far now. I'm trying to find where I was. Random name says, I had this random insight pop up about negative feelings. Negative feelings feel bad because your higher self and body are essentially trying to let your mind know what is false. Continued, but the mind makes the mistake and identifies with the negative feeling. Positive feelings like feeling loved, abundant, wanted, desired, feel good because it's true. So we are all here to experience this world in all its glory. That's obviously what scripture all says as well. It's basically give unto God and all that kind of stuff. So what you're saying there holds a lot of validity. And what you're saying about the negative thoughts is also true, as in it feels bad because you're assigning, oh no, you don't say that. You say essentially trying to let your mind know it is false. So I kind of semi disagree with that. It is false, as in the negative thought itself is not true until you make it true. I don't feel like you feel bad because your higher self is trying to let your mind know it's false, because you feel bad because you associate it with your truth. Now, it kind of lines up with what you're saying, but I think I just have a slightly different opinion on what is making it feel bad. Obviously, what you say about that is false. I agree with that. But what makes you feel bad, in my opinion, is you associating with a part of yourself that believes it's true, and that's why it hurts. Because, like, for example, someone who is poor has a negative thought about money will feel into it a whole lot more. They'll start to panic because it's their truth. However, someone who is rich has a negative thought about money is not going to feel bad, even though it's false for them, because it's false for them. So it's all based on someone's version of association with it being true. Poor person will associate to be their truth, therefore it hits them a lot harder than a rich person who obviously will just laugh at it because it's not true for them. They won't feel anything. That's kind of like my interpretation of it and why things feel the way they do. Emma says, manifesting a health condition to go away. Assume it's not even there in the first place. Assume that you are in perfect health as best you can. So you can repeat yourself over and over about how you have perfect health, or this specific thing is perfectly healthy, or something like that.
I think the key is, like you said just a few moments ago, completely removing your thoughts from that condition. The same with like a third party, it works the same kind of way. Like, you don't have to go, I'm better now from this condition. I've got over this condition. You want to act as though the condition was never there in the first place, and that you are in perfect health. Your health cannot falter. Like, there is nothing wrong with your like health, sort of thing. Rather than going, I did have this and now I don't anymore, it's better to just be like, I am perfect in the way that I am, sort of thing.
Exactly. Carolina says, okay, I'm glad to hear that. So I can basically do my own thing and staying in the wish fulfilled, and the subconscious will lead me regardless. Yes, absolutely. I think I was trying to force myself to do something I didn't want to. Thanks for clearing up. You're very welcome. It's quite a common like misconception that you have to make those moves. But it's fine. If you don't, your subconscious mind will still like make the pathway to get you there, assuming you're giving your power to it. Kumo says, man, YouTube should really upgrade the amount of text you can type here. It's annoying to not be able to type more stuff. I obviously don't know from your perspectives, but yes, I do agree, because sometimes when I have to like read someone's paragraph and then go lower down and read it and then go lower down and finish it off, it does get kind of like difficult, because that's why sometimes it jumps, because I have to keep scrolling and it's just a pain in the ass. But so yeah, I do agree. Caroline says, do you prefer revision or just accepting what is and affirming for what you want? I don't really understand the point of revision. Is it not better to disregard it and persist in new assumptions? That is exactly my opinion also. I think revision is great and does definitely work, but I think that a lot of the reasons why people struggle so much with manifestation is because they live too much in the past. They have that breakup, they have that poverty mindset, they have all of these stories. So the idea of like going backward to try and go forward, in my opinion, kind of seems a bit convoluted. You might as well just go forward. That's the way that I perceive it. So I would agree with you, but some people might like to go backward to go forward. What are you going to say, Katie?
I was just going to say that I think that revision can be quite useful unless it's a very traumatic event that happened to you. So basically, with like trauma and things like that, they're stored in particular parts of your brain and everything. So if you try and revise it and act as though it never ever happened, all you're doing is putting it into that part of the brain of like where the trauma goes, sort of thing. So I think accepting things and like understanding that they have happened to you and managing to let them go is a much better approach when it comes to things that are like horrific and horrible, because all that will happen by sort of revising them is that you won't be able to fully revise it because of like your emotional attachment to it. You can revise certain things because you have no sort of like opposing feelings to it or anything like that. You can just sort of get rid of it. But when it comes to something that you have a lot of like feelings associated to, I don't think it is possible to fully get rid of that. And all that will happen is it will pop back up when you least expect it. Because actually we have been revising things our entire life, and that's why you find that childhood trauma pops back up when you're older and you're like, oh shit, I remember that I forgot that happened, because as a little person you go, that never happened, because you don't want to believe that happened to you, sort of thing. So I think that revision can be very helpful, but I also don't think that you should try and do it with something that has absolutely horrified you. Like I just think it's quite unhealthy to try and do that to something that has really, really affected you badly, sort of thing. That was all I was going to say.
That was all I was going to say. It went on for like 20 minutes. That's fine. Yeah, so I think it is better to build up that belief within yourself that it is not going to affect you going forward than to try and change it, because if you live your life in the past, then your past is just going to constantly repeat. But again, take what you will from that. Some people may love it, some people may hate that answer, so it's entirely up to the person. B says, so if I want 100 customers per day and level it up, I need to get into the state of that this number is coming and present. Yes, absolutely. Like I know, but will manifest even if I don't have the followers. Yes, absolutely. You do not need the following amount to make that money. You just got to stay true to it happening, and it will happen in one way or another. Giselle says, my boyfriend had strong prejudice about immigrants. I happen to be an immigrant. Since I met him, I had really bad luck with money, which led me to claim benefits. Did his assumptions manifest that? I personally don't see the correlation between his prejudice towards immigrants and then you being like bad with money. So I would go ahead and say no. Obviously, if someone does talk about things and then you associate with them to be true, then that does obviously affect your assumptions, but his assumptions didn't manifest it for you. It would have been you being open to what he's saying to be your truth, which did. If it was even him talking about money, but that could have just been happened because you had a bad money belief. Maybe it's hard to tell because the actual like the story that you told there doesn't quite like link, like prejudice towards immigrants and then money problems. I don't see the link, but
I think potentially his prejudice was that that like it linked to the benefits, if that makes sense. I think what she's saying is that his prejudice was that like they like need benefits sort of thing.
oh, okay.
So
Well,
he had this assumption that like she would need benefits sort of thing. I think that's what she was trying to explain in that story. But I think that, yeah, unless you've let it sink into yourself and then taken over that belief yourself, I don't see how it would be linked. But like it can sometimes happen in that kind of way where, like, for example, if you go and sit around with all of your girlfriends and they're all bitching about their boyfriends and they're all saying about how, oh, they're so bad, you know, they always do blah blah blah, and then you start to think, oh yeah, and then you get home and then your boyfriend does something that your friend was bitching about sort of thing, and it's because you've sat there and absorbed everything that they're saying but started to believe it yourself and then gone, oh yeah, obviously he's gonna not do the washing up sort of thing because so-and-so's boyfriend didn't do the washing up because she's been sat there bitching about how he's not done the washing up sort of thing. So I think sometimes you can absorb other people's assumptions and then sit on it yourself sort of thing. But I don't think just people speaking about it around you, like, for example, if my friend was to sit there and go, oh, blah, blah, he didn't do the washing up, men never do the washing up. If I was like, well, my boyfriend always does the washing up, then it's not going to happen in my reality kind of thing. But if, you know, you're sat there and you're letting it sort of absorb into you, and you're like, oh yeah, men never do the washing up, then you're going to get home and he's not going to have done the washing up sort of thing. So I think to kind of answer your question, there's the potential that you allowed it to absorb into your own thoughts and then created it yourself, but his assumption of you would not affect your reality.
yeah. Carolina says, I don't like people. Mood. Yeah. Random Name says, just ask her right now. Laugh my ass off. Oh, about the whatever. Carolina says, "Oh, love it. It'll be a surprise for Katie."
You didn't answer that question.
I did. I went here. Yeah, exactly. It'll be a surprise. See, everyone thinks I'm a bad guy, and I'm like because I haven't told you. See, they're trying to back it so that I tell not told you, so I ask you.
Thinks you're a bad guy.
I do.
I was just stating fact that you had not asked me.
Is it or is it not true, chat, that she somehow, in some form of way, every live stream near enough, there's some kind of comment about how I'm a bad person. She not that, but like she always gives me an evil look every time.
Okay, because every live stream you talk about moving on.
Oh, so you're saying I'm a bad person? So you're saying I'm a bad person? Watch, chat. Watch. A couple of years from now.
A couple of years from now, what?
That's all I'm saying. And then there's gonna be people here a couple of years from now that I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. And
yeah, you know, be married.
No.
That's it. You need to keep manifesting.
I am a bad person, to be fair.
Also, I did hear you saying that you'll definitely not be the one that gets married next.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm glad that's what you heard. Carolina says.
Wait, what else did you say?
Oh, I gotta get on with this chat.
No, what else did you say?
Oh, love it. It'll be a surprise for Kate. Absolutely.
Exactly.
No, I can't talk.
What else did you say? Someone tell me.
Marianne says, hi Matt, how are you? I'm very good, thanks. You, how are you? And then it says, I have a question. I'm starting scripting and I would like to know what's the best way to script to get your outcome. Like, is it better to bullet point or paragraphs? It entirely depends. Oh, and now to start it off. Or how, I'm assuming it says how to start off. It entirely depends on what you like. Some people will just like banging off little bullet point. I have this. I have this. Some people will like sort of saying, you know, I'm so grateful to be living this dream life with my specific person and yada, yada, yada. Do whatever feels more comfortable for you and what makes you feel into that state of having it much easier. As for how to start off, simple, you could either just, if you're doing the bullet point, just simply I've received or I'm grateful for receiving. And if it's the paragraph, then start it off with a way that feels nice for you. So today I received the most lovely, passionate, committed relationship text, and that would look like this, and then give some description. Or you could just say, I'm grateful to have received, yada, yada, yada. It's entirely up to you. Carolina says, I believe in a law of assumption, but what's your opinion on feminine and masculine energy stuff that does apply since they talk about it in the 7 laws of hermetic principles? I 100% believe that feminine and masculine energy are a thing and they have to be abided by as well. I do genuinely think that while you can manifest someone, if let's say you're a feminine male and you're trying to manifest a feminine female, I do genuinely believe that you can have that result come out, but you are not going to keep it. It's going to take a lot more effort for you to keep it, because I do genuinely believe that there needs to, like I say in all of my videos, there needs to be balance, and the balance is masculine, feminine. It doesn't matter if you're a feminine man and a masculine woman, there's still that balance. But two feminine counterparts don't go together, just like two masculine counterparts don't go together. A lot of people, let's just use sort of day and age as an argument, a lot of people will say that men are intimidated by successful women. That's not true in the slightest. It's just that successful women tend to have a lot more masculine traits than unsuccessful women, which doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of the world. Be successful, don't be successful. But it's not that we're intimidated. It's just that it doesn't match us. The link is not there. I know some people might get a little bit like, ooh, about that comment, but it's just simple biology, really. The masculine requires a feminine, and it doesn't matter if it's a masculine man, masculine woman, feminine woman, but they have to be that balance. And like you said, the 7 hermetic laws talk about it. I think the Kabbalion references the 7 laws. I'm not 100% sure if it's the Kabbalion, but I'm pretty sure it does. And it does require it. Even I'm pretty sure that there's the phrasing of the conscious mind is the masculine and the subconscious mind is the feminine. The conscious mind impregnates the subconscious mind with the seed of your desire. So masculine, feminine energy is referenced everywhere. And this is why there will always be, let's just, another sort of goofy example for the argument's sake of this, lesbian couples, dominantly, not always, because there will always be exceptions, but dominantly, you will find that there is one sort of more masculine of the women and then one more feminine of the women. Same with gay couples. There will often be one sort of more masculine man and then one more feminine. Even when they're same sex, it still has to have that masculine and feminine energy. So I 100% believe it. And I think that if you are wanting a feminine female as a man, you should try and aim to be a more masculine male. If you're wanting a more masculine male as a female, you should try to aim to be a more feminine female. And then vice versa. If for whatever reason you want a more feminine male, try to be a more masculine female. You guys make me answer in ways that are so controversial. Like I don't know. If I get cancelled, I get cancelled. I ain't gonna get cancelled. I haven't got enough subscribers to be cancelled. I'm not important enough.
I don't think you just said anything offensive.
Saying that sort of successful women have more masculine traits, I think some people could take a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
But I mean, it's true. I don't care what anyone says.
I think quite often people get more confused about appearance. So, like, I think the way people might be offended by that is assuming that you mean appearance-wise. But, like, there are certain traits within people that you would see as, like, sort of more masculine or feminine, for example. And, like, that's it. Like, someone could be super feminine exterior and have like a very sort of pretty sort of feminine sort of energy from the outside, but have sort of a few traits in there that are feminine, but the majority sort of masculine. And then they, what you said, would sort of then gravitate towards someone who is maybe also very feminine on the outside and very pretty and like feminine energy, but they might have a few masculine sort of elements in them, but mostly feminine sort of.
Yeah, I mostly talk about it in regards to energy and mostly actions. The reason why is that I still think a quite masculine appearance female with a very feminine energy, as in the way she behaves, the way she conducts herself, and so much will attract a masculine male just the same as like a really feminine looking one, because I think it's all energy based, kind of like the analogy of magnets that I've used in a couple of videos. It's all action based. Magnets push, they pull based on energy. And I think it's the same thing. I don't think looks has energy, if that makes sense. I think it's the like soul. I don't like using the term soul. Soul is really not in my vocabulary, which is why I did that. But I think that's kind of more what it is. If you have more of a masculine energy, you will attract a more feminine energy. And that usually goes in the way of how they connect as individuals. That was a really long way to answer that question. So I do apologize to everyone that had absolutely no care in that answer. Flower QT says, how many months was it till Katie reached out to you for when the breakup occurred? See, this question, not long. It didn't take long for her to reach out, but it took a couple of months for us to get to my end result, because my end result was not Katie and I getting back together. It was Katie and I being this like happy, better couple. And that took a couple of months. So the actual reaching out shouldn't ever really be anyone's focus, purely because reaching out does not mean that you will get the result that you want. Reaching out does not mean that you will get in this relationship. Reaching out does not mean that things will go to the way you want them to be. You should focus on the relationship being amazing. Even like we are back together, that doesn't imply that you're now going to be back together happy. It could just go back together with the same shit that you had to deal with. So I get the premise of the question, and there's my answer to it. But I would advise that if you're manifesting someone back, manifest being in an amazing relationship with them, not, being back together or them reaching out.
One thing I was just going to say is, as well, I think you should aim for not just like reconnecting, like you just said, but like focus on the reconnection being the best and that person being their best at the time that they reconnected with you, because it's actually quite sort of like horrible to go through sort of like not so great period, then break up, then not so great period, then like finally good sort of thing. And I think that a lot of people would sort of, if just the reconnection was what you were going for, and then you get the not so great sort of, is gonna create a hell of a lot of doubts in you and a hell of a lot of like, oh, is this even what I wanted to get? And like all of this kind of like horrible spiral of thoughts that could then end up separating you again, like pulling you back apart. So I think a big focus should be on getting your person at their absolute perfect self and the exact way that you want them before they even reconnect with you. Because otherwise you may end up just sort of like having that horrible, like strange reconnecting period where it's not actually all like rainbows and butterflies sort of thing, that might actually push you away again.
Yeah, 1 second, peoples. Sorry about that. Katie's just going to go and sort the food out, because I'm conscious that after I've eaten, I'm then going to have to do the call at like near enough 9:30 at night. So it's getting quite late, and I just don't want to I want to try and get through these comments that I can head off and actually go eat and stuff, because I don't really like enjoy doing the calls really late at night, because I feel like I kind of lose the last of my evening. So I want to get this kind of done. But so Katie's just headed off, so she might be back in a second if dinner's like dished up before I'm done. Anyway, Carolina says, I manifested this boy who was in my course in college to get a different job. He'd always interrupted my gym sessions. So anytime I went, I found it was so good. He has a different job now, and I didn't see him for like 3 weeks, and found out the other day he quit his job and he works in a different gym now. Congratulations. That works really well for you. I'm happy to hear it.
Sorry, which one?
The middle. Actually, Lewis said, can birds before land also be in the form of opposite of what you are manifesting? I would probably assume no, because the term birds before land is meant to be when they saw birds before their manifestation. I think that what you're talking about would probably be closer to the Purge by Neville coined by Neville Goddard. I think birds before land is usually in line with what it is that you're manifesting, and not the opposite. Katrina says, any advice on how to deal with the 3D when leaving the state? One may affirm and get into the state of having his/her manifestation, but then he/she is confronted with 3D and not having it. Remind yourself to go back to that end result of having it. Don't let what you're seeing be the dictator of your thoughts. See what you're seeing and be like, okay, it is what it is, or I don't care. But then go back to saying, because this thing is true for me instead. I am says, hey guys, I'd like to ask, why am I spiraling out of nowhere? Spend most of my days in a really good state of mind about me and my manifestation, but sometimes with no triggers, negative thoughts pop up. So negative thoughts will pop up here and there on their own, regardless of whether you're top of your game, bottom of your game. You'll obviously have less negative thoughts when you're doing better than you will if you're doing quite bad. Negative thoughts coming up is not the problem, it's how you deal with them. So if your thoughts are coming up and then you're panicking about them and you're spiraling and you're really freaking out, then that's where the spiral will come from. But the negative thought themselves coming up is not a problem, and it's perfectly natural to have negative thoughts here and there. Just when they do come up, don't associate with them to be true. Literally state to yourself, that's not true for me because, and then enter a new thought. Mr. Theo Mighty One says, hi, Matt and Katie. Hope you are both okay. We are very good. Thank you very much. How are you? I just joined. Sorry I'm late. Enjoy your evening. Well, I'm glad you were able to make it, even if you were a little bit late. I'm glad to see you here. Marcelo says, I asked my SP to go out on Sunday, but she said it wasn't a good idea for us to go alone together again. I accepted, said that if she changes her mind, I'm there, but internally I'm confused. I was prepared for that, but it still makes me kind of sad. I'm spiraling, so I don't know how to go. I don't know how to react that way. The 3D triggers me a lot. So I would advise in these kind of situations, if you feel like the response is going to get to you, or if you're not 100 million% certain you're going to get the response you want, you're best off just waiting for them to come to you, because it saves all of this kind of problem. So them saying stuff in the 3D isn't a problem, but now you're going to spiral about it, then it's going to be harder for you to stay in that dominant state. So you're better off not putting yourself in that position in the first place. But the 3D, just say this is not true for me, or I don't care about this, or why would I care that I got rejected, and then go back to your end result. Remove the outcome dependency, remove the attachment to the 3D, remove the element of needing that 3D to conform for you to be okay, build up that level of self-trust and fulfillment, and then go back to your new story. Carolina says, no, you're speaking the truth. If people get offended, that's a reflection of them. You'll never get cancelled for speaking the truth. I mean, there's a few people out there that have been. Sneeko, for example, is one of them. Well, Sneeko got cancelled because he was an absolute tool at one point, but he does speak a lot of truth stuff. But I think then this again is probably going to be an assumption. Well, no, it's an assumption and based on the world that I see. But I think cancel culture at the moment is a bit crazy. I think people are enjoying the fact they have the power to just remove someone that they don't like. I don't think my channel is big enough to ever get cancelled, no matter what I say. But yeah, I have had people get offended over stuff like that when I've spoken about it. And I actually had that exact conversation with someone before, and I think it was someone I used to work with, and they got a little bit iffy with me when I said that successful women tend to have more masculine traits. And then like, oh, you're a misogynist, you're a misogynist. And I was like, define misogyny. And then they couldn't. And obviously misogyny is the idea of like hating women. And I was like, nothing that I said was in any way hating women. I never said it was bad to be a more masculine female. I never said anything like that. I just simply said that a female that tends to be more successful is going to have more masculine traits. This is one of the reasons why females that are extremely high IQ tend to actually find it harder to find suitable partners. And this is because they have this self-perception of themselves being extremely smart, and they only want a man on their same level or above. And obviously men at that range are not as common as men below, which is a kind of not derogatory, not the term I want, which is kind of like an insult to men if you think about it, but it's the truth. A woman of a higher intelligence has a harder time because there are less high intelligence men, and she does not want to downgrade, which she's in every right to do so. And it's that same sort of thing where it's like these conversations, depending on who you're talking to, the people can get really upset, even if you're speaking the truth. So, and there's been plenty of studies to show it. But yeah, I've actually had that exact one about the successful women before, and people have kind of got a bit iffy with me. So, but if I get cancelled, I get cancelled. I'm not going to stop saying my opinion, and I'm definitely not going to stop talking the way I want to. If you guys don't like it, then that's a bit of a shame because I love you all, but it is the way it is. I've definitely said a few things in the past that have upset people, but they've said, other than that, I know for a fact that you know what you're talking about, and I like talking to you, so I can let it go. And I think that's the way it should be. Not everyone is going to agree with everything someone says. Marianne says, okay, thank you so much. You're very welcome. Alexandra says, thank you for always answering comments on your videos. You deserve the best in life. Cheers. Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words. So, I am says, thank you, Matt. You the best. See you all in the next one. Have a great week, everyone. Yes, thank you very much for the kind words, and I will see you in the next one as well. And Carolina says, does that tie in with perceptions as well? If a successful woman assumed she was perfect the way she was, and she could get whatever man she wanted, etc. So I think not. Like I said, actually, yes, she could get any man that she wanted by assuming it to be true, but she would have to stay on top of that all the time, because having more masculine traits, if she then goes for a more masculine man, it was referenced earlier with the 7 hermetic laws, it would counterbalance. This universe requires balance. If a more masculine female would go for a feminine man, a man that's maybe not as ambitious, as successful, and kind of loafs around a little bit, and she can kind of take on that leader role, it's going to work absolutely fine. But if a successful, predominantly more masculine female goes for a highly successful, like more masculine male, there's going to be that tip in the balance, and there's too much masculinity going on, like masculine energy in this relationship, and therefore it's going to cause some problems. So she still can get a masculine man if she wants to go for one, but she's probably going to have to stay constantly telling herself that this relationship is going on, because the natural balances of their relationship would tip in the wrong direction. Which is why she will probably naturally attract a more feminine man because of the more masculine traits she may have. Doesn't mean she can't get the person she wants, because you still can. You can still affirm it into being. But if you're to just then take your step back and not continuously affirm, the natural balances of the universe will play out, and you'll probably find it a bit more difficult to keep that person. But it works out in the end. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up tonight, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.